This is an emergency hearing in a landlord-tenant matter. It's entitled Lorenzo Larry White versus Tim Marchand and Sarah Marchand for a property at 106 East Chicago Road. Mr. Matthew Davidson is here on behalf of the plaintiff, Larry White. He is here by Zoom. Timothy Marchand and Sarah Marchand are not present. This case has got quite some history. It was filed as a non-payment of rent case. I think it was first filed, yes, it was always filed as a non-payment of rent. The rent was substantial. An amended complaint was filed in October. We did find that there was a lease. We had a couple of hearings in the matter. And the problem was it started out as half termination of tenancy and half non-payment of rent. We had a hearing on October 20th.
There was an amended complaint filed.
Yes, there was. That was for non-payment of rent. Then we continued the matter until October 27th. The defendants contended they had put a lot of money into the house. At any rate, the court ordered as of October 27th that the defendants were going to move by November 3rd.
Yeah, they had asked for some extra time. And I think
I
as it turned out,
gave them, they said they're going to move by the 3rd. I gave them until November 6th. So at that point, Mr. White was entitled to obtain a writ of eviction, which he did not do. The Marchands came in here in a panic. On November 23rd. Well, they actually came in here on the 28th. On this date, I'll read their letter. On or about 5 or 6:30, Larry White returned.
that's the second one.
The second one. He took the door off the house. The first one was on November 22nd. Anyway, and they alleged that they did some other things that violate the landlord-tenant lockout law. There was no writ of eviction at that time. Mr. Wright identified him. He then stated he took off the exterior door and was not putting it back on. We went down the stairs and the exterior door was not on the doorway and the cold air was just blowing in. He also stated that he informed the authorities that he had every right to do what he was doing and could not do anything about it. It was his house and he wanted us out.
Hey, Your Honor.
Yes.
I would object to any of this other than stating the concept for why this hearing got scheduled, because, you know, extrajudicial statements are not admissible unless they're relevant. And I don't even know what the point is all post-judgment stuff. I mean, even if it was against the rules. So I just want to make it clear that if we have a hearing on it, but I don't want to accept this as true because
I'm not giving it as truth of the matter asserted. I'm giving it to show why we scheduled this hearing.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Go ahead.
Mr. Wright refused. He also shut the power off for a few minutes, but turned it back on. Anyway, so they come in with a panic on the 22nd. The plaintiff was eligible to get a writ of eviction on or after November 6th, but as of November 22nd, they had not got a writ of eviction. So they wrote a second letter indicating he put the door back on. So I set on their behalf this emergency hearing regarding an alleged violation of the landlord-tenant lockout law. In the meantime, Mr. Davison today, November 29th, has filed for the writ of eviction. So I set this on short notice at disconvenience to Mr. White and Mr. Davidson. Then at about 2:22, Mrs. Marchand called and said, well, we're going to be a little late for court. We are going to get our car out of impound in Schoolcraft. So they weren't even at Schoolcraft yet. So it isn't a situation where they're going to be here in the next few minutes. It probably won't be here till sometime after 3 o'clock. And so this hearing was at their behalf and they're not here.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm not going to hear their issues. No emergency hearing regarding the lockout law. What I just read was not a finding that Mr. White violated the lockout law. It was their allegation. There's two sides to every story, and I haven't heard his side, but I don't need to because they're not even here. Mr. Davidson has filed for the writ of eviction, which I'm going to sign effective today. Mr. White, I don't know what you did or didn't do, and I'm not sure why you didn't get the writ right after November 6th, that you wanted them out that badly. But just for future purposes, you can't do that sort of thing. I'm not contending that you did, but you can't remove the door, you can't shut off the power, you can't interfere with their tenancy. What you can get is a writ of eviction, and the sheriff comes and puts them out. So
Yes, sir.
I've signed a writ of eviction.
I agree, Your Honor.
All right. Take advice from your lawyer. He's done this for a long time. Get the writ first. Let the sheriff come do it.
Yeah, that's why I put the door back on.
All right. Now it's 2:30 on a Thursday, a Wednesday. The Sergeant Morse isn't going to do the writ today, but he may well do it tomorrow. So when they show up, whatever time they come rolling in here for their emergency hearing, I'll have the clerk provide them with a copy of the writ of eviction that we've received from Mr. Davidson. They have till sometime tomorrow till the sheriff comes and puts them out, but I'm not gonna dance around with this anymore. Mr. Davidson, I've signed your writ. I'll send you out. You can get a copy for your records and we'll serve them if and when they show up here this afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Yes. Do I need to continue? I got it.
Don't do anything. You need to come here. Well, you got it. They brought the $15 and paid for the writ.